Hola mis amores, yo como una maleta y mi novio es la biblioteca. And today, we're going to be talking about the best and worst Drag Race twists of all time. Drag Race loves to throw in a random twist into each season, oftentimes to its detriment. But sometimes, I can't lie, the twists do knock it out of the park. And I thought today, why not go through the best and the worst twists that Drag Race has ever done, discussing which twists were so good that, you know, we will remember them forever, and which twists are so bad that we will also remember them forever. Now let's get right into it. So first up on the worst twist that we're going to be talking about today, we have the pork chop loading dock twist of season 13. Now the pork chop loading dock twist is a super convoluted twist from season 13, where on the premiere episode, the queens would enter the workroom in twos, and then they would be brought to the main stage and would have to lip sync. And then whoever won the lip sync got to stay in the competition and then compete for the rest of the season. And then the person who didn't win the lip sync had to be eliminated. But then it turns out they didn't die. They had crystallized. And that they were in the pork chop loading dock. Like, the twist is that if you don't win the lip sync, you no clip into the back rooms. It's like...
Hey, ladies. Oh.
Wow. And it turns out that they're not actually going to be eliminated from the competition except for one, and they all have to vote with lipsticks to choose who is the one out of the losers of the lip syncs who they should send home. So they all do it. They choose Elliot with 2 T's, but it turns out she didn't die either, and she had also crystallized a second time, and that she was actually unknowingly getting sent to the winners group to compete with the winners instead of being with the losers, even though she lost the lip sync. It is so, as you can tell, this twist was kind of like psychological warfare on the contestants.
I got sent home for something that I didn't have any say in.
A few inches later.
Why keep telling them that they're gonna get sent home if you sent them home twice, like first with the lip sync and then with the lipstick thing, and no one went home. So I don't know why. Like, I guess that's my question. Other than kind of creating a fake spectacle for a premiere episode, I don't really understand why they did this, or like what this had to do with anything at the end of the day. You could have just not done this and the season would have went the exact same way. Like, why crush the hopes of all these people who have taken out mortgages to buy outfits for the show and then being like, actually, we're sending you home before you even get to show any of them. Actually, just kidding. Only one of you is going home. Actually, just kidding. You're all staying and everything is good. But also we kind of mentally just kind of like drag you through the mud for no reason. But for me, I don't even have that much of a problem with the psychological warfare of it. Great sentence. You can clip that. You can clip that. Chat, clip that. But I actually hate the pacing of this twist, because it's 2 people coming into the workroom, and then you have to stop the entire episode for RuPaul to explain the twist to them every single time. And there's 6 pairs or something. And for that reason, it's in the worst twists of all time. It's not very good. But I was trying to find a silver lining, but there wasn't one. So next up, we have the chocolate bar twist of season 14. Season 14, Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you want on your RuPaul's Drag Race season is a chocolate bar twist. So on season 14, there was a thing called the chocolate bar twist, which was a twist where the queens would all pick a chocolate bar at the beginning of the season, and one chocolate bar would have the golden ticket. And whoever has the golden ticket when they open up their chocolate bar when they're about to be eliminated gets saved from elimination. So then every episode, when the eliminated queen would have to open up her chocolate bar, and the golden ticket was not in there, she would say,
"It's chocolate."
So this twist sucks because, number one, it's so clearly rigged. The show has openly saved people from going home before for no real reason. So this isn't a boundary that hasn't been crossed already, but I think that there's something to be said for trying to make it look kind of, fair with the chocolate bars, when in actuality, you're just saving the person you want to save, which is fine. They save people all the time, but I don't like being lied to. I don't like pretending that it's an actual fair, thing. Just save her. It's fine. Just save Bosco. You don't need to do the whole dramatics of the chocolate bar and the trumpet sound. Just say that you want to save her, so save her. You know what I mean? I just don't like the fact that it's they're trying to play it off as though, that it's a real element to the season that could have, anyone could be saved, but it's no, they can't. No, they can't. You're lying. And I don't like that. I don't like being lied to. And thankfully on season 17, they did a version of this chocolate bar twist called the Badonkadunk tank, which is where queens had to pull different levers to see if they got the correct lever. And it turns out that the sequence was actually predetermined, which I really like. So that I really like that version of this twist, and I think it's a way better version. But this is just a worse version of the Badonkadonk tank. I don't know, there's something very anticlimactic about it, which I just don't care all that much for. I think it's like ironically funny, like the whole it's chocolate thing. But it's just that's not enough to make it a good twist. So next up in the worst twist of all time, we have the 3-star twist on All-Stars 7 and All-Stars 9. Now, All-Stars 7 and All-Stars 9 were non-elimination formats, which means that instead of going home, the queens had to earn stars. And then whoever had the most stars would get to go on to the finale. And what they do to make the season have stakes, where like anybody could get to the finale at any point in the competition, because like some people get left behind and only have like 1 star, and someone at the top might have like 4 stars or something.
I literally only have 1 star right now. I have 1 challenge left.
So chances are I probably still won't get to the finale.
Which means that they would have to win like 3 challenges to catch up, but then there's not enough challenges left in the competition for them to catch up. So what they do is that they make the last episode, which is the talent show, and they make it worth 3 stars.
This week's challenge is worth 3 legendary legend stars.
I'm sorry, wait, did she just say 3?
Which basically negates every other star in the competition, which means I feel like all the most bullshit twists are the most like convoluted to explain. Like, I don't even know how to explain this properly, but basically what you need to know about this one, because it's super hard to explain, or else I'm just really bad at explaining, which is, I mean, it could be both. The last challenge is worth 1,000 points, negating every single other challenge in the competition. You could just not win any challenges and win the very last one and go on to win the competition, hypothetically. So basically it ends up kind of destroying the entire format by basically negating the entire season, because the only challenge that matters the entire non-elimination season is the last challenge.
Who knew that it would all actually hinge on the talent show?
Yeah.
It's just an artificial way of like making the finale have more stakes than it should, which no one likes. Like I haven't seen a single person who has reacted well to the 3-star twist. Yet even after All-Stars 7 aired and everybody hated this twist, they doubled down on it and did it again in All-Stars 9. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. So now at number 2 on the worst twists of all time list, we have the jury twist from All-Stars 3. So this was a twist on All-Stars 3 that was inspired by the hit TV show Survivor, where in the finale, the top 4 had to plead their cases to the jury, being the queens who they eliminated throughout the season. And then the jury got to cast votes deciding which of the top 4 deserved to win the season, and then the top 2 queens with the most votes would get to go out onto the stage and lip sync, and then whoever won the lip sync got to win the season. And this twist is just viewed as very unfair in the Drag Race fandom, specifically because they didn't tell them that they were going to be judged by the people who they eliminated throughout the competition. In Survivor, that's like a very well-known thing, is that the people who you're voting out are going to be the people who are voting for you to win at the end. And so you can kind of do what they call jury management, which is basically where you make sure that you have good relationships with the people that you're eliminating so that you get their votes at the end. But in Drag Race, they didn't tell them any of this, and they didn't tell them that the jury was going to even exist. So basically the jury was sprung upon the queens at the very end, and suddenly the competition, didn't really matter that much. And then, people were casting votes off of who their friends were, who comforted them when they were feeling down that day, or who needed it the most for their career. And then you have the people, Trixie and Kennedy, go into the top 2, and then you have BB Zahara Benet and Shangela not making it into the top 2, despite the fact that they had the best track records going into the finale, which kind of looking back was like kind of a blessing in disguise. So maybe this should be on the best, on the best twists, because it kind of ended up saving us. So yeah, most people just hate this because they view it as unfair, because you could literally win every single episode on the season, but if you get to the jury and the jury doesn't like you, you're not winning. So now at number 1 in the worst Drag Race twist of all time, we have the All-Stars 1 format. So All-Stars 1 is probably the most infamous season in all of Drag Race. It's universally hated by like every single person, and it's not hated because of the cast, because the cast is amazing, but this season is specifically hated because of the format twist, which had all the queens come into the workroom and then randomly be told that they would have to pair up in teams of 2 and compete in the entire season as a duo. And because they didn't tell them about this beforehand, none of the queens were prepared for it, which means that they had to kind of scrape together their runways to try and make them as cohesive as possible. And it meant that every single episode was a double elimination, which meant that you have one of the most beloved casts of all time and then 2 of these beloved characters are going home every single week. And because they competed in doubles, there are times where one partner does bad and the other one does really good, but the person who does really good gets put in the bottom anyway because their partner dragged them down.
If one of you fails, you both go home.
Oh God!
Oh my gosh.
And the twist was so universally panned, and the show is like kind of embarrassed by the fact that they even did the twist to begin with, that as of All Stars 4, they've started inviting back people who were on the first All-Star season, but inviting them on modern seasons where they get to compete as individuals, because they viewed teams as so unfair at the time that they were all allowed to be brought back on different seasons. And this was like at the time where, like, you know, doing All-Stars twice was like not a thing, but they invited all the All-Stars 1 queens back on the subsequent seasons just to give them a shot at competing on their own. So next up, we're gonna be talking about number 5 on the best twist of all Drag Race time. This season 14 Lollapalooza. Now on season 14, everybody flopped the Snatch Game, and as punishment for that, RuPaul hosted a lip sync like tournament Lollapalooza SmackDown thing, where basically every single person except for Deja Skye, who had won the Snatch Game the previous week, but every other person had to participate in a Lollapalooza, where basically everybody would keep lip syncing until there was only 2 people left, and then whoever lost that last lip sync would go home. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed this twist. They did it again on season 15, and then they did it in the season 16 and 17 reunion things. But this is where they first introduced the twist of like, oh my God, everybody's gonna be lip syncing. And I think it works really well here. I enjoy that they have the dynamic of you either get to choose the person who you're going to be lip syncing against, or you get to choose the song, and it adds a little bit of a strategic layer to it, because like which one is more important, getting to choose the song you lip sync to or getting to choose your lip sync opponent. So I enjoy just everything about this. I think it's fun. It is a little bit strange that both times that it happened on season 14 and 15, that one of the lip sync assassins of the season went home in it, which is like a little bit strange.
Fatality.
I prefer it actually in the season rather than in the reunion like they've done for the past 2 years. But overall, I still really like it. The 4th best twist of all time, we have the game within a game on All-Stars 6. Now, I actually have huge beef with this one.
Every single week, the eliminated girls have been going up against each other, knocking each other out to see who was gonna make it back here.
Oh my God.
This twist only works once. You cannot do this twist again. It is lightning in a bottle that it worked out as well as it did, because Silky saved it. It's incredibly rigged against the people who were eliminated early on. So I feel like if someone should be able to win their way back into the competition, everybody should have an equal shot of winning their way back in. But in this twist, if you're eliminated first, that means you have to do like 9 lip syncs to get back into the competition. Meanwhile, if you were eliminated last, like Eureka was, you only have to do 1 lip sync before winning your way back into the competition. I feel like that's kind of unfair. And even though it is unfair, it's that exact unfairness that makes Silky's run so impressive, that she's able to survive every single lip sync until the last one. So it is the kind of unfairness of this twist which actually makes it so good in this specific instance. The way that it actually worked out in the season is great, and I really, really like that. I love Silky's entire domination of it, but I don't like the twist itself. I just think it worked out really well against all odds when the twist itself is kind of unfair. It's good in the sense that it gave us a great episode of television. I would just never want them to do it again. I'm just gonna move on. I don't know how to salvage this section. I feel like I crap talked it. I didn't mean to. So now at number 3 of the best twists of all time, we have the season 9 lip sync for the crown. Now this is one of those things in Drag Race where I have to talk about it, I want to say every 2 months. It was just such a big moment for the show, and it was such a big kind of like spectacle of a finale. That it comes up very often. And obviously, of course, you have the Shea Coulee versus Sasha Velour thing, where Sasha Velour kind of pulls through as the dark horse in the competition. It's a huge famous, it's probably one of the most, if not the most famous episode of Drag Race. Like, it was even referenced on SNL. That's how big of a kind of moment in the show this was. Prior to season 9, the finales were always a little bit lackluster until season 9, where to make up for the bad lip syncs that season, which is kind of insane that season 9 is thought to have bad lip syncs because we've gotten so much like worse lip syncs since then. But at the time, season 9 was viewed to have had bad lip syncs. And so to make up for that, they decided to do this lip sync for the crown, where the top 4 of the season would have to lip sync a battle, and then the last person standing would win the crown at the end. Now, a lot of people have grown sour on this twist, specifically the subsequent times that they tried to do it. But the season 9 version of this twist, the time it was introduced to us, is so good. I still think that it is the most exciting format for a finale, even though people don't like it anymore. But it was so good, and you had 4 people in the top who are all amazing lip syncers, and so you had 4 of them having to battle it off to win the crown. It was so good at the time. And obviously, like I said, you have the Sasha Velour thing. I'm not gonna go too deeply into that because I do it like bi-weekly. I have to talk about it all the time. It was just such a switch up at the time, and Drag Race needed to switch up the finale because the finales were pretty much the most boring episode of the entire seasons, which is like, that shouldn't really be, you know, in a competition show, the finale shouldn't be the most boring part of the season. So I'm glad that they changed it up. You cannot understand how great this was at the time. It was amazing at the time. So at number 2 on the best twists of all time, we had the Revenge of the Queens twist on All Stars 2. Now this is the twist midway through All Stars 2 where the eliminated queens come back into the competition and have to team up with the remaining queens and compete in a big comedy show. And then the top 2 eliminated queens that week have to lip sync against each other, and whoever wins gets to come back into the competition, which on its own sounds like a fine twist, but because of the storylines of All Stars 2 and how good they were, this just worked out so perfectly. It kind of is, you know, like I was saying with Silky, where it's kind of like lightning in a bottle. This would not work again because you have Fifi O'Hara, who eliminated Alyssa Edwards, and then they all come back into the workroom, and then Fifi O'Hara starts bad-mouthing Alyssa Edwards, and then it turns out that the eliminated queens were behind the mirror the entire time and was listening to everything that Fifi O'Hara was saying. They all come back into the workroom, they get into a big fight.
I said I felt. Now, if you want to sit there and talk about how I'm feeling from sitting there, that you were sitting there, don't try to play the victim, boo.
They do the Comedy Queens Challenge, which is super funny. And then Alyssa ends up in the top, Fifi ends up in the bottom. And then Alyssa Edwards and Tatiana had to lip sync for the opportunity to eliminate one of the bottom queens. They both end up winning, and they both send home that season's villain, Fifi O'Hara.
It's okay. Bye. Oh, love you. Mwah.
It's just such a good story, you know, it's a kind of underdog story from Alyssa. This episode is widely regarded as the best episode of Drag Race. If we were to do a poll of the best episode of Drag Race, I say this would get probably, I want to say like 70% of the votes. That's how much of a beloved episode this is. Now we have the best twist in all of Drag Race. We have the lip sync for your legacy format. So right after All Stars 1, the All Stars franchise was in the trenches, and they knew they had to switch it up because they didn't want to do the All Stars 1 twist of the duos again. So they decided to do a twist format called the lip sync for your legacy format, which basically meant that each week there would be 2 queens who would place in the top, and they would get to lip sync, and whoever won the lip sync gets to eliminate one of the bottom queens. And this format is so good. In my opinion, this is the best All-Stars format that we've ever gotten. People did eventually grow tired of it by All-Stars 4 and they changed it, but this format is so good. It brought us so many good moments in the show. It was also incredibly new at the time. We had never seen anything like it on the show ever. Now voting and strategy and stuff is like a big part of the show, and they kind of try and encourage the queens to be as strategic as possible. But at the time that All Stars 2 aired, that was not a thing. The queens had never had any power in the show ever. And so to see the tables be turned and the judges just be kind of spectators and the queens playing the game themselves, seeing the queens try and figure out the rules in real time and not really know like what to do with the power. Do you save your friends? Do you send your friends home if they have a worse track record? What do you do in that situation? It was really, I think it's one of the reasons that All Stars 2 is as good as it is.
Do you eliminate somebody because you think they were
who you
weak?
think did the weakest, or do you eliminate the strongest to...
And yeah, I just really like this format. It's one of my favorite formats in all of Drag Race. So those were the best and worst twists in all of Drag Race. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I have a Instagram and a TikTok if you want to go follow me over there. I also have a Patreon with an extended version of this very video, and you can vote on which video topics you want me to make. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios. And now it's that very special time of the week where I give a shout out to Debs, Josh from McDonald's, Cal, Cast with the Ass, Splurgle, Chaos Goblin, Mr. Peralta, Jetta Like Jetta, Wretched Thrawn, PRHX, Ket, He Him Sir, Ryan the Nerd, Vito Ruiz, M. J. Stevenson, Celeste, did you just say Wig? Cool Gal Nan, Vern Wisner, Brony RuPaul, Jabroni, Edgar Allan Pup, Count Cacula, Uno, Planet Daniel, The Almighty Anginator, Mobster Lobster, Jim Jimmy James Bradshaw, Eve, Dip, Crazy Oats, Yoon White, Fico Pop, and Tone. Thank you so much to every single one of the patrons, all of the names you see scrolling up the screen right now. You guys are helping keep this channel alive, and the Patreon support that I get really helps me out financially, so I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry for this video being a week later than usual. I've been sick the past week. I still have a lingering cough. It's really fun and beautiful, but like I couldn't speak for an entire week, so I couldn't even record. And while that was, you know, terrible for me, it was probably great for everybody around me who didn't have to listen to me yet. So good for them, bad for me. So thank you for being patient with it. Did you guys even realize? Did you even notice? Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. I really enjoyed this one, and have a great day.